Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
I heard somebody say my name. Hello, how are you? It's it's Tuesday, March 26th, and I think I said it's Tuesday. That means Susan. Susan, I'm calling you in early because I'm afraid I might be incoherent today. I haven't talked to anybody yet, really, today, much. So I don't know, but I feel incoherent.
Well, I'll do what I can to help.
Okay, you
But
could.
I'm just reminding you that had not a group of my friends in the Midwest started texting each other at what must have been 7 o'clock their time, so that my phone was lighting up.
Oh, you would not be up?
I might not be quite as wide awake as I was.
Okay.
I mean, they...
Okay. Well, wake up. It's a new day.
I'm awake. This is the last time. This is the last time I have to do it.
So early. Yeah, I know. Susan is coming back to the Middle West. Susan, I haven't talked to you since the Mueller report thing. And I realized, yesterday, I don't know. I think I was just I think I was in shock. I think I'm still in shock. And I'm wondering why it is that we always seem to get ahead of where we really are, how we misunderstand what's happening.
Or whether we ever should be. I'm thoroughly aggravated at everybody. Because the Mueller report did exactly what the Mueller report was always going to do, what we knew it was going to do.
I don't think so. What do you mean? What do you mean we knew it was going to? We were waiting for Mueller to save the effing country.
Well, you were asking for too much. He always had a very limited question to research. I mean, and I'm a little irritated that he didn't see fit to draw a conclusion himself, but I think I understand why he didn't. I mean, I really thought he was leading that question. He is the presenter of evidence. He is not the drawer of the conclusion. Except insofar as he wants to charge lesser people. When it comes to Trump, he was not going to indict him because the Justice Department says you don't indict a sitting president. The most that he can do is present a compelling case, which he hopes Congress sees, to do the proper thing themselves. Give them the evidence. Give us the evidence.
Wait,
I think that's what he was doing.
Which he hopes Congress sees. They haven't
which
seen
he hopes
it.
Congress sees. Yeah, I know. And I would remind you, Lynn, who stop screaming at me, we haven't seen it either. So now we're all pounding our breasts and screaming defeat, and we're being told to apologize. And I'm telling you, I don't think I'm in any different position than I was before the report came out. I still don't know what it says. I still don't know what the final outcome is going to be. And this is the wheels of justice are mostly unsatisfying and terribly, terribly slow. Everybody calm down and keep your eyes on the goddamn prize. We have one job to do. We always had one job to do. That job has not changed. It just doesn't have a thing where we can say that so-and-so said he colluded. I don't care whether Mueller says he colluded. In this case, I'm going to be like the Benghazi folks and the Hillary folks. I think, from what I've heard, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that even if he didn't manage to collude, he intended to collude, and I believe that. I think that what's going to happen is that he will, A, hopefully be defeated, and B, will get them all under all of the different laws that they've broken. He is not charmed. He is not untouchable. Let's let this happen. Really, Democrats got to stop doing this. Ooh, it didn't come out according to our script. You got to stop doing it. Just keep your eye on the goddamn prize and find us a candidate, work for him, screw all this stuff. We know what a sleazy is. What do we care whether anybody says, oh, yeah, he's a sleaze? We know he's a sleaze. Get over it. How's that?
That was pretty good, but I wish it made me feel better.
Well, I mean it. I mean every word of it. I've been irritated since this whole thing started because I think the expectations were so far off course, and we're just reacting to all this headline clickbait, and everybody's still talking for the 15th day about what they don't know a fucking thing about, excuse my French.
You're excused. No, I agree. I mean, with that, here we all are, all freaking out, and none of us have seen this thing. God damn it. And we might not. That's the thing.
No, you might not.
Well, that's outrageous.
And I would suggest that it's always been a red herring anyway. Do you need the Mueller report to tell you that this man is a fraud and a creep and most possibly and probably easily provably a felon?
No, but if it's easily provable a felon, there you go. Then why aren't we seeing, I don't know. I can't. Look, I know the guy is going to
you really want me to walk you through the answer to that? There is an answer to that.
I know that there is, no doubt, this guy is a crook. And no doubt, once he leaves the security of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, he is going to be gotten by the feds.
Well, I think it's when he is dragged kicking and screaming out of the White House, holding the red button in his hand, screaming, I'll push, I'll push.
Oh, dear.
We have far more immediate problems than the Mueller report.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to say that I retweeted this black guy's tweet today. I don't know him, but he said this. Dear good white folks, I know that the Mueller report has been underwhelming. Do not despair. If necessary, please report immediately to a person of color near you. We are well versed in crazy shit America does and have tons of fucked by the system experience. We can help.
You bet. Prospective people.
Oh.
I mean, I am far more irritated and just as unsurprised by the reaction than by the report. Because it's not as catastrophic and it's not the victory that the Republicans are hopping up and down and screaming, unless the Democrats say, you're right. What a terrible thing. We didn't get what we wanted. They didn't win anything. We didn't lose anything.
Well, if you watch media, everybody is saying, and I don't see how you can deny it, that this has been a wonderful week for Donald Trump and the Republicans and an awful week for Democrats. No?
Well, because we're letting it be. We're letting other people tell our story as usual. And we are allowing the headlines and the clickbait to create the dialogue. And it's not the anywhere near the whole truth. Here's what happened. Nothing happened, and then Barr put a spin on it. It is nothing more than the same political piece of shit it was in the beginning. We need to get on with the real work. We need to keep our eye on the prize.
Well, that's what Nancy Pelosi is right now telling her dispirited caucus. I'd follow her now.
I don't want us to be dispirited either. I don't want us to blink an eyelash. I want us to kick this pebble out of our path.
Okay. So we're never going to talk about it again?
What for? Until we have something to talk about, let's not talk about it again.
Okay. So, Susan, let's talk about your heartthrob.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, she knew exactly who I'm talking about. Susan's
Michael Avenatti.
Michael Avenatti, who right now is in prison, is he not? I mean, he's in jail.
Well, if he isn't, he should be.
He's in jail.
I mean, I wish I could say that I was surprised, but there was always something too gleefully slimy about him.
I know.
You know?
I know. Right. But wow.
Yeah. Well, wow. But, wow, the reason that you're laughing at me about this is because we both know that we know somebody who knows him, and I think that person is probably down, 150, 200,000 K lost to this guy.
Why would he have lost money to him?
Because he hired him.
Well,
because he paid him a retainer.
Okay. Oh, he paid him a retainer, but I mean, did Avenatti do well by him?
Avenatti hasn't started. My guess is, given the charges, Avenatti spent it.
Okay. The person Susan's talking about,
and he's not going to be giving him a lot of representation from his. He's going to be busy.
Yeah. Well. Okay. I forgot you.
Yeah, this is a friend of mine, guys. It's not right to talk about it, but yes, I have a crazy friend who.
He's a wonderful character. He's a wonderful character.
He's a wonderful
he's
character.
Slightly Avenatti-esque,
but he's exactly the kind
too.
of guy that would have hired Michael Avenatti.
Exactly right.
And he hired him, and he hired him because it takes one to recognize one, and he wanted to buy that.
Oh my God. So yeah.
Please,
Avenatti.
will the last honorable white man please stand up? I really want to see you. I know you're out there. I loved one. I had one as a father. I have one as a brother. I'll give him that. Yeah, please. Come on, guys.
It's really. If I were a white male, I'd be like wincing a lot. Just like minority people have always had to when one of theirs does something incorrect.
Yeah,
and then
right.
Why do
they have to?
It taints us all.
Oh, why do they have to be black? Yeah.
Right. So, white guys, I know it's your turn now, but you still have all the power.
It's your turn.
But you have all the power, so you're still not going to get any sympathy. I'm sorry. None. Jesus. We have a call. Hello. Caller.
Hello.
Oh, for
this
Christ's sake, stop
Canada.
being so methodical.
Can I tell a quick story about your show?
Sure.
I know the story, but go ahead and tell it.
Why do you know the story? Oh, because you guys have already done this on Facebook or something? Go ahead.
Yes, we did it on Facebook. I have a friend that owns this cooking school kitchenware store in Greentree, and I always go up there and take pictures. And while I'm taking pictures, while the classes are going on, I'm telling little bad puns and jokes and things. So this man asked me, he says, are you from Canonsburg? And I didn't recognize him. So yeah. And I said, did you go to Cannon McMillan? He says, no. He says, and then he asked me, did I call the Lynn Cullen show? I said, yeah. And I said, did you recognize the voice? He says, no, I recognize the bad jokes. His name was David Scott. My friend Jen.
My hero.
Shout out to David Scott. Yeah.
It was buddy.
It was so funny the way he responded like that. The friend who knows I do the bad jokes all the time, Jen. If she was drinking coffee, she would have done a spit take. She burst out laughing when he said. He was a cool guy. I liked it.
Oh man, that's great.
He's been listening for years too. He brought up. We ended up having a conversation. He's been listening for decades. Since your beginning. So he's one of those guys. It was pretty funny.
Wow.
Boy, he must be like 104.
Well, it's actually he's not. He hasn't reached triple digits yet. So.
Oh, for God's sake. Well, that's a great.
That's all I got.
Well, that's one. That is, quit while you're ahead. But that was great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye. Man, I need a laugh. That's good. That was good.
Yeah, that one was cute.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. All right, Susan. I'm looking for something good.
Yeah.
I'm not coming up with
Okay,
anything.
go ahead.
Why?
Well, me either, because...
Why? Why can't you come up with anything good? Nothing.
Well, I
he-
thought I'd done my duty by you already. Okay,
oh,
hold
you
on.
mean by talking me off the ledge or something? No. Hey, and do you see, this is news today. Okay, keeping our eyes on this could help candidates on our side. Bob Barr, the Attorney General of the Bill Barr, right? What's his name? Fucking Bill or Bob? Bill?
It's William Barr.
Yeah.
It's William Barr.
Bob Barr was that congressman, right? There was a congressman during the Clinton administration who I think was the author of the Defense of Marriage Act, who himself had been married like 17 times. But the Defense of Marriage Act was, of course, to prevent any gay people from getting married. And
because they might ruin the institution of marriage.
And so Bob Barr, right, was the congressman behind that. And didn't Clinton sign that?
Yeah.
Clinton, the serial adulterer, signed the Defense of Marriage Act. And I guess that's really, that little vignette right there is all you need to know about our government. So, and white men, and white men's power.
Right.
It's just there. White heterosexual.
Don't you want to find the billionaire's handbook where it tells you, like on page 43, you have now enough money in the bank that you can do whatever you want to women.
Yeah.
I mean, where does that one happen?
I don't know.
And because it seems to be an unwritten rule that they all follow. While we're here at a certain place, we get to satisfy all of our sexual fantasies and not give two hoots about the human being to whom we're doing it to, or who we're requiring to do it to us. I mean, because it's so universal, you have to think there's a handbook for this.
I think Rita Dove, I saw a poem of hers, I think it was in the New York Times, and I think the first line was, "You've got the job, he said to my breasts."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, he was looking at her boobs, and yeah, you got the job.
Right.
Okay, you want to see? I had this idea a long time ago, and then I didn't follow up on it because it was an idea I had while stoned. And but you know how when you're stoned, you all of a sudden have like brilliant, just sort of thoughts. Right?
Absolutely.
And if you
I've done whole books that have
so you have to
disappeared by the
scribble
morning.
them down real fast. And I was thinking I would just start doing, a segment of the show of, stoned, my genius stoned, utterances. I can't even see. I told you I'm incoherent today. And I had done a bit of a rant last week on menstruation. This is after, Susan, I had watched the short documentary.
Yeah, end of sentence.
Yeah.
Or end of sentence period.
Yeah. Right. Did you see it by any chance? And
I didn't see it, but I'm
okay.
aware
So anyway,
of it. Yeah.
It doesn't matter because every woman in the world, no matter where she lives, and whenever she's lived, knows that menstruation is a taboo subject. It is simply, while nothing else is taboo, nobody really ever is to talk about menstruation. You don't. It is something to be
and I don't
hidden.
And I don't care how well equipped you are. There's nothing pleasant, or you don't get used to it, and it's not. There's nothing happy or miraculous about it.
Well, no, but it is. No, it is. It is a symbol of the miraculousness of the female body.
Okay.
I'm serious. And of
yes,
the power,
well, it is.
Of the power of the female body. And it doesn't matter where. You can be in a culture in which you're the minute you get your period, you have to leave your home and go live in a hut and possibly die there, which happens to women in Tibet all the time. Or you can be like an Orthodox Jew where all of a sudden you are unclean. Your husband can't touch you, lest he be, I guess, contaminated. Or you have to go to a ritual bath to be cleansed before he can touch you. And that would have to happen every month. This idea that we are unclean. And I did a rant about it. I mean, because I was thinking, think of that. We represent over half of the world's population. And this normal thing, this normal bodily function has been judged by whom? Certainly not by women. Has been judged to be disgusting, shameful, contaminating, all of those things, right? Stop and think about that. And we wonder why women have such a long slog to get into an equal position. It is in our cultural bones, no matter where your culture is coming from, in our religious bones, in all of it. So that night after my rant, I got stoned again. And I was thinking, damn, I did not say it right. I didn't. And so I started ranting about it again in my head. And then I wrote this down. So here is and it's just, you can tell, it's a stone scribble. And it pretty much says everything I just said. But I just wanted to say this one more time. Menstruation, it says. The normal functional part of our biology, that which is necessary for the perpetuation of the human race, of our very species, is considered. Start with a string of adjectives. Shameful, contaminated. Women must be ostracized for it. Just try to take that in. Because to me, that's momentous.
And not only that, but our brains don't work when this is all happening.
That's not true. Remember what that was? It was actually why women couldn't be presidents or CEOs.
Well,
because, that time of month. And then women are too emotional. And then look what white men get to do. Look at Kavanaugh. Look at Lindsey Graham at that same hearing.
Imagine
look at Donald
Trump.
If
every time they spilled their seed, they were considered unclean. I mean, it's an effluent that's coming out of their body. There's no reason that you don't treat ejaculate the same way that you would treat menstruation. I mean,
Right.
Who cares?
Okay. So every time a man ejaculates, he should be ostracized.
No, it's the same thing.
Oh, and listen to this. I think, this is an actual story. And here's the headline. This is about an American legislator. Politician votes against access to pads and tampons in prison because it's not a country club. Hello, Susan. Somebody pick Susan up off the floor.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what that's supposed to mean, that they are not allowed to have them.
Right.
Or that they have to pay for them.
No, it's a luxury item, apparently, so they could just bleed all over the place. I mean, I don't know. There was an attempt in Maine, this is from Maine, that would guarantee incarcerated people access to menstrual products. Federal law already ensures that federal prisons offer free pads and tampons. But that is not the case in many states and in many local prisons. And you won't be surprised to know that it was 4 Republicans who balked at the idea and voted against it. And Richard Pickett said this: incarcerated women should not get more access to menstrual products because the jail system was never meant to be a country club.
What do you mean more access? How about access?
Yeah. Can you even frigging believe it? You know, and all over the world, women are denied access to these products, which further makes them, of course, you know, they have to be ostracized. They have to be put away once a month. What they say is that in prisons all over this country, women are forced to make their own pads. They use clothing or notebook paper. They do whatever, you know. Can you imagine? It's not considered a necessity because men don't menstruate.
No, they just stick us in a tent till we're done.
God in heaven. I am getting...
Out of sight, out of mind.
I can't take much more. I'm serious. Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
Let me tell you what disturbs me more than men perpetuating their power, because that's to be assumed. It's the women that collude with them.
Yeah.
It's the women who call each other hysterical. You know, I mean, I won't use that word because it takes a piece of our body and makes it into the definition of someone who is not sane. So, you know, if you're hysterical, it comes from your hister.
My hister?
Your hister? Well, if you have a hysterectomy, what do you lose?
I'm losing my hister.
Yeah, that's right.
What is my
my hysteria?
And that's where hysteria. It's the seat of hysteria. Our women organs make us hysterical. Yes, hysteria. Fuck everybody. White men.
Well, I remember particularly when I was a young mother, and I had my son was ill, and I was quite sure that he had appendicitis. I not only sure, I knew without a question that he had appendicitis, and my regular pediatrician was not there, and there was a new doctor in the practice that I didn't know, a woman. She was taking the calls. She refused to speak to me. She had me put Eric on the phone. She told Eric I was, quote, hysterical. And the kid had the stomach flu, and if he still didn't feel well in the morning, to come into the office. And one of the biggest fights we ever had is that my husband conveyed that message, and as if he agreed with it. And let's just, end of the story is, of course, Arlie had appendicitis. And he was operated on the next day.
Right.
But I went into that office and I demanded to see that woman. And I said, I will never see you as a doctor, but if you learn one thing, don't you ever call another parent, particularly a woman, hysterical. Shame on you. Not only were you wrong, but you demean all of us when you do that. Shame on you. And that was the end of that. I was mad.
Yeah. I'm going to give people something else to be mad about. Yesterday in the state legislature here in Pennsylvania, the first Muslim woman in that body was sworn in. And before she was sworn in, they, of course, started with a prayer. And it was another woman, representative from, Republican, who offered the prayer. I've been looking for the actual prayer. I've been sifting around here.
Well, it had to be in the name of Jesus, right?
Jesus? It was. It was. She, in the course of something like 2 minutes, said Jesus like 18, 19 times. And she also thanked President Trump. And Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It was just such an affront. And actually, can you imagine this? She's doing this. It's supposedly an invocation. And it got so outrageous that people on the floor started screaming out, objection! I mean, during the prayer. Objection.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Jesus. Wait.
Better than if they sat there quietly accepting it.
I have it here. Is there any way we can run this? Yeah? Here. Okay, Amy's going to try to see if I have not heard it, but this is somebody then who is going out of their way, not certainly to welcome a new member of their deliberative body, but to insult her in the name of Jesus. I mean, to use her religion as a way of it just, we're living in a time that, everywhere you turn, you're blown away. Blown away. God almighty. I despair, Susan.
Don't despair.
Okay, let's hear the prayer.
I mean,
seriously, can we listen? Let us take a moment, please, before we continue to
Representative Borowitz.
To pray. Here we go.
Speaker. Let's pray. Jesus, I thank you for this privilege, Lord, of letting me pray, God, that I, Jesus, am your ambassador here today, standing here representing you, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the great I am, the one who's coming back again, the one who came.
Do you hear anything? Because I don't hear anything.
Oh, Susan's not hearing it.
And I'm so privileged to stand here today.
Is everybody
thank
hearing
you for this honor, Jesus. God, for those that came before us, like George Washington and Valley Forge, and Abraham Lincoln, who sought after you in Gettysburg. Jesus.
I'm not hearing
and the
it.
founding
I'll tell you
fathers
that
in
much.
Independence Hall. Jesus, that sought after you and fasted and prayed for this nation to be founded on your principles and your words and your truths.
Jesus.
God, forgive us. Jesus, we've lost sight of you. We've forgotten you, God, in our country.
And
we're asking
she's almost
you to
in
forgive
tears,
us,
Susan.
Jesus.
With
your
Jesus.
promise in your word says that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves
she's
and pray
almost
and
in
seek your
tears.
face and turn from their wicked ways, that you'll heal our land. Jesus, you are our only hope.
Jesus, you are our only hope.
I pray for our leader, Speaker Turzai, Leader Cutler, Governor Wolf, President Trump. Lord, thank you that he stands beside Israel unequivocally,
Can you hear it now?
Lord.
No.
Thank you
I'm
that
laughing
Jesus,
at
Okay,
you.
never mind.
that we're blessed because we stand by Israel, and we ask for the peace
now
of
she's
Jerusalem,
brought
as your
Israel
word
into
says,
it.
God.
This is
We
a
ask that we
friggin'
not be
prayer
overcome
to
by
start
evil,
the
and that we overcome evil with good in this land once again. I claim all these things in the powerful, mighty name of Jesus, the one who, at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess, Jesus, that you are Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
She's saying everyone will bow and profess that you are Lord, Jesus. That's how she welcomes a Muslim. Let us understand, too, that there are Jewish members in that house to whom that is it's just punch, punch, punch. There are atheists in that house, I would imagine, or doubters. There might be Hindus, I'm not sure, Sikhs.
It doesn't matter. There is no state religion.
Apparently, that's not true either. This is a country in which there is a mythology that we've all been taught is a reality. And then there's a reality which every time we encounter, we're gobsmacked. Jesus, literally. We have a caller. Hello, caller.
Hey, Lynn. Hi, Susan. It's Kristen. How are you?
Good morning. We're fine.
I just wanted to thank Susan, first of all, for talking me back from the ledge. Not totally off the ledge, but back from off the ledge. So I truly took what you said to heart. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Number two, as far as pediatricians go, Susan, I ran into the same thing with my daughter when she was 3. Short story, she was barfing for 5 days straight, couldn't keep anything down, had her to the pediatrician 3 times, was told, oh, calm down, she's fine, she just has the stomach flu. And I kept telling them, but she kept complaining of a sore throat, and they're like, well, she's been throwing up, dummy, what do you think's going to happen? And the 4th visit, finally I saw a PA that took one look at her and said, she's dehydrated, she needs to go into the hospital. Sure enough, they ran tests, she had a strep infection. So there you have it.
Yeah.
But it's easy for them to dismiss you. Yeah, hysterical mothers.
Exactly. They just don't listen. I pulled her from that practice, and I just took her to see a family doctor from then on out because I got tired of constantly, between the nurses and the doctors, being put down constantly. So I was like, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, you learn very early on that I think especially with doctors, you got to come, you know your kid, you know yourself, you really have to advocate. And I don't care whether it's for your child or for yourself. Doctors are not infallible. So we all need to pay attention and remember to be advocates for ourselves and our kids.
But people
so thank you for backing me up.
Yeah. Thanks, Kristen.
Hey, you're welcome. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
I'm sure I know that happens all the time to women.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't want us to accept it anymore. When someone, gives you any kind of little ladying or I'm the expert, you're an idiot behavior, you just look at them. And you look them right in the eye and tell them to cut it out. Do not dismiss me. I mean, I don't. We've got to start doing it because it's the culture. It's the way we're treated.
I was reminded yesterday. There was someone was in my house and her eyes lit on a book in my that I haven't opened for a million years, but. She said, I'm really interested in this title, and it was called The Lost Art of Healing. And it was written by a Harvard MD who I had the privilege of interviewing back in the 90s. And his name was Dr. Bernard Laun, Laun, I believe. He was a co-founder of... some doctors' organization against nuclear war that won the Nobel Peace Prize at one point, and he, in fact, was charged with picking it up. So he had gotten the Nobel Peace Prize, and he was just brilliant. And he felt that doctors, that it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I mean, this was in 95. If he saw the way doctors now roll in with a computer and they rarely look at you or, how and he said that you got to sit, talk to these people, talk to them, know them, notice them, look at them, touch them. It was such a big part of his thing. And do you know, when we were done with the interview, he said to me, you have a hypothyroid condition, don't you? And I said, I do? I said, well, I do take Synthroid because half my thyroid's gone. And he said, right. And I said, well, why did you know that? And he said, I can't remember. It was something in my eyes. Susan. Is that weird?
Well... No, no, it's not weird. I mean, he's observant, and that's what makes him a good doctor.
Anyway,
I don't know why that whole thing made me. I have the question for you. I'm sure you've discussed it, but I haven't discussed it with you. And that's, what was your reaction to the Southern Poverty Law Center firing?
Maurice Dees, the founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center, has been tossed out, left, pushed out of.
And so has the other founding guy and the board of the head of the chair of the board.
Well, as you know,
so,
I have not been a particular. I mean, it's not that they
do
good work, but I know that I didn't think they were organization that we should give money to, because I'd done some, just a little due diligence and found that they are sitting on this just huge endowment. As it turns out, Maurice Dees, as well as being a great civil rights attorney, was a master fundraiser. And so I would always tell people who wanted to give to, a social justice kind of organization, don't give it to the Southern Poverty Law Center. I know they do good work, but they're rich as holy hell. They don't need your money. Anyway, I read an article today about some of what. So they're saying that the workplace there was, that was not comfortable.
A hostile environment, but not sexually, racially.
No, both. But then, did you read any for instances?
No.
Because the for instances were, I wish I'd brought it in.
You were underwhelmed.
Yeah, as usual. I mean, just extraordinarily underwhelmed. It said that he had a penchant for here's how they said it, coming up behind women and putting his hands on their shoulders. Now.
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed. I would not feel threatened by that. And honestly, if I didn't like it, I'd turn around and
say,
exactly. Stop lurking.
That's exactly right.
You don't even have to make a big deal out of it. You just look at them and smile and say, "Why are you lurking behind me?"
I swear that was that was one of the biggies that I saw.
Well, did you see that big above the fold takedown of the Jewish hedge fund philanthropist?
No.
For sexual stuff? And when I read all of the stuff against him, I know this guy. We all know this guy. He's the guy that makes, that has absolutely no intention of even touching you, but he makes sexual jokes and comments, and he'd be horrified if he thought that you were. And they're taking him down. That's what he did. He was
I saw a letter from a woman who
in defense of him,
saying, "Guys, this is the nicest human being." So he makes little, I got to tell you, right.
We got to be careful,
If a guy comes up behind me and puts his hands on my shoulders, I sometimes will look at that as, if we're working on something together, as almost camaraderie.
Right.
I'm sorry. Every time somebody touches me, I don't feel violated, but we now have women, who feel violated by a look, a touch, and it doesn't have to be, it's not like he grabbed her boobs. I mean, Jesus, God. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live where people can't touch.
Well, I don't even like the Me Too name. Because you want to know the truth? It's not about me. It's about other people behaving themselves. I'm not a little victim here. I want you to stop victimizing me. I'd rather have it and cut it out.
Yeah. Hashtag cut it out.
Hashtag cut it out. It's not Me Too. I don't like that at all. I've never liked that at all.
Well,
and now it's being, and if we allow this to continue, it's going to discredit what very real problems.
Exactly.
By trivializing them.
Exactly.
And it's terribly important that we don't allow that to happen either. Why is there no sense of proportionality? Why is there no sense of nuance? Why is any kind of critical thought or requirement that you actually look and learn before you start screaming? Why has that all gone away?
I don't know. You got a lot of very noisy, self-involved human beings, and they all have some kind of... There's more people around who have a desire to control everybody's behavior than I ever realized. And I don't know. What a sterile world they all want to live in. What an uninteresting...
Yeah, I don't want to live in a sterile world. And frankly, I want to be able to make inappropriate jokes in the proper audience.
I believe you do, person. Susan. That's part of our family credo. We make, jokes that some might find shocking. Right.
I made one yesterday that
she's still laughing
it's
at
like,
it. Okay.
I'm not going to, it was like T-ball, somebody just put that ball there and handed me the bat.
Okay, don't.
I didn't tell.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to because it's a really inappropriate joke.
You really cross the line more than I ever do. You do. I'm sometimes, if you were at family gatherings, I'm often heard to say things like, Susan? In shock. We have a caller. Susan. We have a caller. Hello.
Okay.
Hey, Lynn. Hey, Susan. It's Mike in D.C.
Hi, Mike in D.C.
Hey, Mike.
So I have to be, because I'm a gay guy, I feel like this connection with women. And I have to be really careful in the workplace I'm hyper vigilant about not touching a woman under any circumstance. Because I teach them, and it would be normal to put your hand on her shoulder, or in my world, to be, that would not be seen as suggestive or a pass, particularly because I'm gay. But I have to be hyper vigilant now not to touch a woman for nearly any reason at work. But I didn't think that affected my personal life. So a neighbor put up a sign during the voting saying, "Don't forget today is a voting day." And it was good because it was midterm. People might not remember. So I saw her and I stopped her on the street and I said, "Hey, just sort of thank you for putting that sign up. What a smart thing to do. Everybody has to pass your house." And I reached out and I just tapped her on the side of her arm, like on her bicep. And she recoiled from me as if I had grabbed her pussy.
Well, I'd rather you not use that word. But
shame on her.
Okay, you know what? I touch people constantly.
Me too.
Exactly like that. I would have touched her too. Isn't that something? And she recoiled.
So
I don't want to live in that world.
And she recoiled.
I don't want to live
and I didn't. I should probably have addressed it. Like, "I'm sorry, I noticed you just recoiled when I touched your arm. Did you feel offended by blah, blah, blah?" It's probably what I would have said at work. But lady, you're in your front yard. What, you think I came over to you to accost you in your own front yard? It's just like the concept, and the hypervigilance on my part makes me not be able to connect to people in a way I would probably have otherwise connected to them.
God.
And don't feel sorry for me because I'm a rich, white, entitled guy, but it is a weird dynamic of the whole touching.
Yeah, but you see, that's just a loss. I just, and I notice now how much I do exactly that. I constantly reach out and touch somebody on their arm.
I do all the time.
And I don't care if it's a man or a woman. I constantly do that, and I don't want to stop, and I don't want you to stop. There's nothing wrong with that.
I just want to tell you,
But she was probably
Mike,
35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So, hey, Mike, if you should happen to see me You can grab my arm.
You can flat out and hug her.
You can hug me. I would love a hug.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know. I'll be in Pittsburgh this weekend. I'll look for you.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Damn.
She'll be on her front lawn.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, but that's the point. That's we can't just all walk around in straitjackets and muzzled all the time. And we can't legislate this. We can't police this. Please, people, use your common sense.
Well, we're not. This is coming from young people. This is coming.
Well,
from
it
young
is, and they're intolerant and awful. I have to tell you, because every time I suggest that these are very blurry lines, I get told in no uncertain terms that no, they aren't blurry lines.
Right.
But I don't believe in safe rooms at universities. I don't think that conservatives shouldn't be allowed to talk at universities.
Right.
I don't think if you don't agree with the point of view of a professor, you throw them off campus.
Oh, how did we come to this? Well, this comes from our end of the spectrum, and it's
But it does. But
disgusting.
it comes from being so far left that you're absolutely no different than the far right.
That's right. You'll join up right there in the autocratic and busybody era.
And my way or the highway.
Yeah.
My way or the highway, you may not question the rule.
What a dull, white bread fucking world you guys want. All righty. We have a caller. Hello.
Hi, ladies. Ray in Lawrenceville. How are you today?
We're fine, Ray.
Good. You know what we've lost is, on both sides, especially the extremes, any sense of discernment. We just, everything has to be 100 or 0. And
right.
It makes navigating this world nearly impossible. Nearly impossible.
Yeah, it's all zero. It's zero tolerance, which is the refuge of the unthinking,
yes.
would-be Stalinists. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Discernment becomes bigotry. If you don't believe 100%, then you're a bigot. You hate us.
Right. Right.
I don't know how to navigate that. I don't have the rules in my head for that one.
And stop and think what all of this kind of thing gets us. It gets us to a place where you would never have an argument. No one, because nobody would dare speak the words or the thoughts that you're not allowed to have. It'd be like living.
There would be no growth.
No.
That's right.
There would be no growth, no change.
Right. We only learn by that kind of discourse.
Right.
Where, I say a thing and you tell me how wrong I am, and maybe I learn I was wrong. All right, thank you. But if I can't say it, or by saying it I become an evil person, well, then everybody just digs their heels in, and you get nowhere. Nowhere.
Right.
But here's a question. If you two ponder this one, I wonder, like the evangelicals who look forward to the end of the world, right, and who are intelligent and educated, but have been brought up to believe in their hearts something that's demonstrably untrue. Does that make a crack in their brain that other bullshit can get in easier? If we believe something that is demonstrably untrue on principle, I'm going to believe that, even though I know there's facts against it. Does that create a crack in us so other bullshit can get in?
Yes. Yes, it's called faith. And
it's not just religion, but there are other things.
No, I understand that. I understand that, and I'm not applying that term to religion.
I see.
It's just blind acceptance. It's unquestioning.
It's blind acceptance. If you can't prove it, you just have faith that it's
true. You
true.
believe it.
Yeah, right. And if you accept little evils, one on top of another, eventually the big evil doesn't seem so bad.
Well, that's true.
Did that happen in Soviet Union? Did that happen in Nazi Germany?
Well, sure.
Little cracks. Little cracks.
Yeah.
It happened in the United States of America in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes. You look at these hyper-successful politicians that look reasonable, but they've accepted little things from their youth. Little prejudice, little hate, little unreasonable beliefs, and now they're able to swallow Donald Trump just to keep their power. No problem. Well, Anyway, I'm the old white guy. If you ever have to ask an old white guy what's going on, you can always call me. I'll answer any question.
Okay. You can be our resident white heterosexual male. Okay. Thanks, Ray.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Susan, I had one.
I'm always happy. Yeah. I just want to say I'm always happy that we haven't, in fact, scared away the nice white men. But go.
No, of course we haven't. Okay. So when I was saying Bill Barr, Bob Barr, what I wanted to say is that the current Attorney General has significantly shifted the federal government's stand on the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, in a legal filing. I don't know if this flew under the radar anywhere. In a legal filing yesterday with the U.S. Court of Appeals.
All over the news, yeah.
Okay. They are our federal government is totally on board with declaring the entire Affordable Care Act unconstitutional. Never have they gone that far before. They've picked away at little things. They are now taking the stance that it is totally unconstitutional. And if they were able to do, can you imagine how many millions of people would lose health care? It would do away with all of the stuff that I think people have come to just take for granted, the fact that a pre-existing condition does not deny your access to care. It would again, right?
Right.
It's extraordinary. So it says here the Department of
I can't. Well, yeah. I was about to say I can't imagine they would do it.
Well, that's what we always say, but then they do.
But now I think that they could. But this is one of those cases where the basic principle of, no matter how unpopular it starts out or how incomplete it is, at this point it's a right granted, and if the Supreme Court takes it away, that's a real problem.
Yeah, well, you could say that about Roe v. Wade too, which looks like it's.
Well, you will. It's going to be the same problem if they do that. I mean, you just and I will and it's for that reason that I have a hard time believing that they would. You can't grant a right to people and then take it away. Because even if it starts out as a privilege, once it's granted, it's a right. And when you take it away, there is outrage. It would be like that if they start, with all these slashes to Social Security and Medicare, even if no one's paying attention, when it starts hitting the fan, you bet they'll pay attention.
Yeah.
You can't have people relying on legislation. And in fact, giving up information that they otherwise would not give because that legislation exists,
right?
I.e., things with pre-existing conditions. If you take that all away from people, there will be very real outrage, and it will be felt in the voting booth.
Well,
and it is for that.
Yeah, this could be.
It is for that reason that I think that the court would be more temperate than they otherwise would be.
Well, we'll see. We will see.
We will see. I'm wondering what they're going to do with the gerrymandering. That's the one where I think that they could get away with whatever they damn please, and it has one of the most far-reaching consequences.
Yep. Yeah. Well, unbelievable. It's bad stuff. We're out of time, I'm so happy to say.
Okay, well, we've done it again.
Yes, and thank you, Susan, and safe travels back home.
Okay, yep. Next Tuesday from the Midwest. Okay.
All righty. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'll try to snap out of my funk, but I wouldn't put a lot of money on it at this point. I'm sorry. Have a good day. Enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.